There we go.
Family. This is my friend Michelle, and we did time together in CBCF.
Yes,
right?
we did.
And we got each other through a very hard time, through sometimes some laughter.
Yes, laughter, songs.
And she knew I was writing a book about my time in the god-awful Franklin County Jail, where there is no programming. And as an inmate at CBCF, I got very, very sick, and it was just a mess. It's in my book, and Michelle watched me basically decompose behind bars, it was sad. So everyone knew, they believed me that I was going to write a book, didn't you?
Yes.
Right. So she just happened to be at the county jail how long ago?
I have almost been out a month.
A month.
Yeah.
Okay. And while she was there, a girl had my book in the jail.
Yes, she did.
And she didn't recognize that it was
I didn't
me.
know it was you until I started reading it, and then I knew. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Amy Passmore, Amy Wickes, but
Right.
I knew her as Amy Passmore, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and there was a girl in there that had, what was wrong with her? Jennifer Palco.
Oh my gosh, you could stick your fist through the hole in her arm. She had MRSA and had an abscess from the MRSA from heroin use. And yeah, you could, I mean, there was like a gaping hole in her arm, like that big from it. So.
And she knew that Jennifer had found me, her sister.
Yes.
Because I stand up for people that are behind the bar, the god-awful Franklin County Jail being horrifically neglected and medically neglected and abused. And the girl's sister had found me, thank God, and so we were really trying to help get her medical attention. And what happened with her when she was back there?
She was supposed to be on antibiotics 3 times a day with anybody that has staph or MRSA. You're supposed to be on clindamycin, which is like one of the highest forms of pill antibiotics that don't go through an IV. The hole that she had, the dressings are supposed to be changed on that too, if not 3 times a day, packed and then changed for sanitary purposes.
And it's
extremely contagious. Once you have MRSA, it's always in your blood. You always will carry it. And it's extremely, extremely contagious.
And it was turning like green and black.
It was disgusting. It was disgusting. And she's not the only person in there. Hers was the worst, but there was other girls in there too with abscesses, boils, and it takes them like a week, because you have to fill out a call card,
right.
And then it takes them like a week to 2 weeks to get back with you after that, and then by that time you've got a huge full-blown infection. And even just me and you being this close, if I had an open boil or sore or whatever, I could give it to you if I'm a carrier.
And the other inmates it smells.
They make fun of you. They will like beat you up over that. They really get disgusted because some of these people have no understanding of drug addiction, so they treat you like you have the plague or something if you have MRSA or staph. Yeah, they really do.
Like you're disgusting. And so you also are doing 64 days sober. We're advocating to get her in 64 days Amethyst program.
Amethyst program, yes.
Which is and like I told you, I came running out of prison like I was Nelson Mandela. And my aftercare, coming out, my stay-out plan really kind of fell apart because I had all these high expectations of society opening their arms, my family, the whole world, and jobs and housing, and none of it. I was enlightened behind bars. You understand that, but you can't have expectations. So just the same thing. I believe rehab, is the easy part. Getting sober is the easy part. Staying sober is the hard part.
It is. That's very true. I agree.
Right. And so I don't know if people like us understand that until we explain to them.
Yeah.
So now you're taking your recovery in a different way. Like CBCF didn't work for you. They didn't have enough of the 12 steps. You respond really well to AA, don't you?
Yes, AA and working the 12 steps. They do not do that in CBCF. So at CBCF, I relapsed 2 weeks after I got out. So yeah.
So you're in. So Amethyst is what is Amethyst? How long is it?
Amethyst is a 1 to 3 year program for women and children who have drug addiction. Right now I'm in what's called entry level, which is the beginning of the program. I'm there 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 12. And I'm in groups, random urine screens, and then you move into a homeless shelter, and then they provide you with housing and anything you can imagine. When you move into an apartment with them, it's completely furnished, pots, pans, you have bus passes, anything you need. So I don't have to be overwhelmed by, you know, society's expectations of me, because my main concern right now is my recovery. And so an addict like me needs to be in treatment, you know, 5 days a week.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then they do.
It's very serious.
They teach us, like, you're a rich girl. And so, sorry, but, you know, she and I were basically spoiled rotten.
Yes.
Our parents, we manipulated them. We admit.
Yes.
Our doctors, everybody.
Oh my gosh, yes, because we could walk the walk and talk the talk. Put on, you know, a North Face and a Michael Kors bag, and no one would believe I was shooting dope.
That's right. That's right. No one would have ever guessed.
Right.
Right. So then, with all of this that you learn, I'm saying you're going to be, there are only people like us can help people like us.
Yes.
So then later, after you get really stabilized yourself through AA and everything else, then you're going to pay it forward.
Yes, I'm going to give back, because the jail is horrible. You know, I went in there with an issue with my leg due to my drug addiction. I had gotten a hold of some heroin that was cut with crocodile. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I don't understand it. It could just be in the heroin?
What it is it's heroin, but it's cut with lighter fluid, diesel fuel, or gasoline. Okay?
How do people come up with that?
In Russia. It came from Russia, and it's now in Columbus. I got a hold of some heroin on the west side of Columbus that was cut with this crocodile stuff, and I wound up in the hospital at Grant. I almost lost this arm and both my legs from muscle popping the dope. That's where you don't shoot it into a vein, you just kind of stick it in a muscle and push it in, and just lighter fluid, all that eats your skin up. So I had something in me that was destroying my muscle tissue and everything else. Had to go to the hospital. I ended up getting arrested the day before. I had staples in both my here and here on my legs. And the day before I was supposed to go and get the staples removed, which I needed to go see a plastic surgeon, a doctor that specialized in this type of thing, I was arrested. I brought all my medical forms with me from Grant to the county jail, all my medications, everything. They gave me one of my medications, which was clindamycin. They did not give it to me 3 times a day like they should have. They were giving it to me twice a day and only 1 pill when I was supposed to get 2 pills 3 times a day. And they left the staples in my leg. Now, mind you, I said that I was supposed to get the staples out the day I got arrested. It wasn't until 2.5 weeks later that I was seen by somebody, and by that time my skin had started to grow over the staples. My family had to make numerous calls to the jail. Finally, my attorney called the jail, or no, she couldn't even get a hold of them. She got the direct number of the nurses station, nurses station there, and then I had a family member call finally, and then I was finally seen. And when they pulled the staples out, my skin had already partially grown over them. So I have a horrible, I would have already had a scar, but now I have a horrible scar because of that. So yeah, and just not properly medicating.
What do they do to the heroin? Is it filled with heroin addicts in jail?
Oh
like everybody's calling me? And
yes, it's filled with heroin addicts.
Beyond capacity.
Yes.
And the guards and the medical staff, for the most part, almost, how do they treat everybody?
They do not give a shit. They could care less. They do not care. A girl in my dorm was urinating and going to the bathroom on herself. She was coming off of Xanax and heroin, so she was hallucinating. When you come off Xanax, you hallucinate. And she would, like, there was an instance where she was squatting on her mat and using the restroom because she thought she was on the toilet and she wasn't. And they thought this girl was doing this stuff for attention. She was having a seizure every 10 minutes. They would we'd bang on the door, like pound on it. It took them like forever to get down there. When they finally decided to come around and open the doors to the dorm, she's having a seizure. They take her out, bring her back in, and then like the last time they did it, they yelled at her and said she was faking it. And this girl was like, when you look at her, it was like she was looking at you, but you know the hamster's on the wheel, but the wheel isn't spinning. You could clearly see this girl was not faking this stuff, okay?
Right.
Like, yeah, and they yelled at her.
They yelled at her?
Yes.
What about the one you saw fall and hit her head and bled everywhere? That was awful.
I'm like traumatized to this day about
and
that.
all the inmates were watching, so they were traumatized.
Yes, this was in 2008 when I was locked up in 2008 before I went to CBCF.
Right,
when
where we met.
Yeah, where we met. There was a girl in my dorm who had come in and she was on a top bunk, and she had told the guards that she was going to be going through heroin withdrawal. You're not supposed to be on a top bunk if you're going to go through heroin withdrawal.
At least they could make sure that's not.
Yes, and they don't care. So she was on a top bunk, and I was up talking to somebody, and we look over, and this lady starts to have a seizure. Well, she falls from the top bunk down to the floor, and on her way down, because the bunk beds are steel, you know that.
You get bruised everywhere. Steel bunk beds.
Oh my God.
You don't have anything to climb.
Nothing.
It's covered in bruises when you're in there.
She cracked her head open, and she landed on the ground, and her head is like completely split open. She's still having a seizure. I remember it was like right before breakfast. We start pounding on the doors, pounding. I'm not even kidding you, like 20 minutes it took them to get down there. And I still remember the guard. Am I allowed to say her name, the guard's name, who it was?
Let's
or
just wait for
it.
okay. And we'll get that.
Okay, well the guard, the specific guard came in finally after.
I have her name.
Yeah, after 20 minutes, she finally comes in and she goes and kicks the girl. Ma'am, are you okay? And kicks her. And we're like, no, she's not okay. She fell. Well, instead of putting her, you know, because that's a neck or head injury.
Right.
I'm not a doctor nor a nurse, but I know with a neck or head injury, you're not supposed to move that part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, they just fling her up, throw her in a wheelchair. She's still, like, this lady's foaming at the mouth. I'm not exaggerating
I
here.
saw it too, foaming in my mouth, holding a lady in my arms.
Yes, her head is complete, and I mean, oh my God. They wheel her out, and then like later on that afternoon, maybe 5 or 6 hours later, the lieutenant comes in with a bunch of papers and said that